talk about open source legal systems. So, as it turns out, shockingly, the government is not so good at creating effective or peaceful codes of law. And while people tire of being trampled and robbed and bullied by these outdated government legal systems, visionaries are beginning to explore completely new and voluntary models of law that are also more pragmatic for the modern world. Forms of private arbitration have been theoretically discussed since the very beginning of voluntarist and libertarian and anarchist philosophy. However, this technology is in the works to actually put these theories into practice in a very innovative way. The inefficiency, incompetence, and overall negligence of government legal systems tend to leave people in a bitter state of inaction because, after all, how can individuals begin to resolve such a fundamental and complicated problem such as law? And even then, how can different individuals with different needs and different perspectives find some kind of harmony in having multiple systems of law? Fortunately, ingenious ideas concerning this matter are on the horizon. The system of law is one of the most important structures of a human society because it can save or it can kill many people, and unfortunately the latter seems to be the more common pattern in legal systems of most countries. But as we've seen, and as part of our Agora strategy, the resolution to many complex problems are outsourcing them to the free market and to decentralized open source technologies such as the blockchain. And now there are brilliant minds beginning to apply this same idea of an open source code of software to an open source code of law. The Startup Societies Foundation and the Institute for Competitive Governance are launching a crowdfunding campaign for ULEX, which is a decentralized open source legal operating system. And ULEX seeks to not only create a more efficient and peaceful dispute resolution process and rule of law altogether, but also to encourage economic growth for those it serves. And this is revolutionary in the technical sense of its framework and also in the sense that it's voluntary. And so it's adopted by mutual consent of those that it governs. It's not affiliated with any political institution or the influence of any state government or any country. There's no flags. Rather, it pulls research from common law and international legal traditions that have been successful around the globe. It seeks to evolve governance to the degree that the blockchain has evolved software, through the ingenuity of the market. So how does ULEX work? I'm leaving some links for further reading so you can kind of do your own research if you're interested in depth, because I'm definitely not a student of law. But to quote ULEX, an open source legal system, in one page, ULEX provides an open source legal system for special jurisdictions, ZEDEs, CSTEDs, and other startup communities. It combines tested and trusted rule sets from private and international organizations in a robust but flexible configuration. ULEX protects personal and property rights with an efficient and fair dispute resolution process, promoting the rule of law. It is not imposed by any government, but instead adopted by the mutual consent of those it governs. As an open source framework inspired by Unix and Linux, the rules of law for individuals or individual communities can be, quote, downloaded, used, and modified by the public at large, voluntarily, and free of charge. Whereas the codes of Linux runs on computers, ULEX codes of law will run in communities. The minds behind ULEX believe that making it easier and more efficient to resolve disputes, and that properly aligning incentives and assuring trust between parties are keys to successful projects. And though the project is still relatively young in its developmental phase, there is ample information presenting some of the fundamental ideas and structures building. The basic principles behind the legal processes they are developing in ULEX is efficiency, mutual agreement, flexibility, and innovation. And again, if you're more interested in the details, I'm going to leave some links below so you can check it out for yourself. So, what can ULEX bring to the table? While I think this is rather intuitive from prior information, the heart of it would be, again, for decades, we have discussed the theory of natural law in a sovereign society. And this is a topic of often intense disagreement, yet emerging is a solution of many possibilities of implementing different systems of voluntary law. And this is fundamental in the struggle for our freedom and peace as a human race. In its effective harnessing of modern technology, ULEX holds a lot of potential of creating a competitive market of voluntary law that is unlike the current systems of coercion and just inherent economic inefficiency. This is really potentially a huge step towards a humanitarian vision of creating a market of voluntary governance in sovereign communities. And not only does it propose a far better alternative to state law, but it proposes an entire market of better alternatives that could be customized specifically for certain purposes. And furthermore, all of these models, whether they're successful or not, can help us to understand more about the practice of law in the modern world in a voluntary way. And through trial and error, we can begin to find the best structures of law. And it also serves as a physical model that violence and coercion is absolutely unnecessary for successfully solving disputes or establishing law and order in a particular area. The result can be a web of open collaboration where trust is less necessary. Less friction, lower costs, and faster solutions allow for greater agility in all walks of life. So, though this is only the beginning, in conclusion, there is much potential and substance in this idea, as well as openness to collaboration and contribution from peers. Taking the code of law to an open source, decentralized operating system is a remarkable step, as we've seen only the beginning of what this technology has been able to do for us in software and currency, in social media, and many other realms. So one can only imagine the progress to be made if we can improve what is possibly one of the greatest obstructions to liberty and peace in the physical world. So thank you for listening. Again, I'm going to leave some links for further reading if you're interested in this, and I will see you next time.